Welcome to another bonus edition of Upon Further Review.
Upon further review,
In this edition, we'll be talking about the New Orleans Saints at the Cleveland Browns. These two teams are going at it in Week 2 on September 14th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can catch that on your local Fox affiliate. So the Saints lost a heartbreaker in overtime against the Falcons in Atlanta, and the Browns also had their heart broken against Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh, as both teams lost by a field goal on the final play of the game. The Saints were right there with the Falcons, neck and neck. Of course, Drew Brees put up big numbers, as he is apt to do. That's what you expect out of him. But the New Orleans defense could not stop Matt Ryan in that high-powered, high-octane passing game of the Falcons. It features many really good receivers. That's what led them to go into overtime and then losing in overtime. It was really, like I said, a heartbreaker for the fans in New Orleans. With the Browns, they were down 27-3. They came all the way back to tie up that game and lose on the final play of the game, a field goal through the uprights to break the hearts of the dog pound. As it was really a tale of two halves for the Cleveland Browns. In the first half, they couldn't get anything going on offense. They couldn't shut down the Steelers' defense. They fell behind by 24 points, but then all of a sudden, in the second half, they came on strong. They shut down the Steelers. They made big plays, caused turnovers. Their offense was unstoppable. They got the running game going. And then they tied that game up and very narrowly lost it, as it almost went to overtime, but that kick with just 5 seconds left, as Big Ben brought the Steelers into field goal range in the final moments of the game, and the Steelers won that one. So the Browns could have very easily been 1-0. And that's the same story from last year. As the Browns, they lost, I think it was 7 games within one possession last year, I believe. I could be wrong about that, but I know that if they had won all the games that they had lost by one possession, they would have made the playoffs last year. Instead, they were in the bottom of the division. So, are they going to be able to put up the points necessary to beat the Saints? That's the question. Are they going to be able to stop Drew Brees? I don't think they will. See, the Browns, they got to show up for 60 minutes. They didn't do that in Week 1. The Saints, to beat them, you need to show up for 60 minutes, sometimes more than 60 minutes, as the Falcons showed in Week 1 when they beat them in overtime. You know that Drew Brees is going to put up points. He's going to rack up yards. But can you match him? Are you going to be able to cause the turnover? Are you going to make the big play that gives your offense the opportunity and keeps you in the game? I'm not sure that the Browns can do that. I'll tell you, they're really missing Josh Gordon because he's such a big playmaker. A player like that in this game could be the difference that would keep the Browns right there with the Saints, putting up points on the board, because he can score anytime the ball's in his hands. I'll tell you, if they had Josh Gordon in Week 1, then they very likely could have won that game and probably would have won that game. But if ifs and buts were fruits and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. Josh Gordon is not playing. Not last week, not this week, and not for the foreseeable future unless they change the year suspension that he is currently undergoing, which is rumored to be possible, but very unlikely, and we'll see about that. But as for how this game is going to actually really turn out, I say expect Drew Brees and the Saints to be keeping the Browns under pressure. They're going to put up points. It's going to be a matter of when do the Browns turn it on. Are they going to carry over from last week when they finally seem to get it together? Are they going to show up in the first quarter and play 60 minutes of football? That's what's going to take. Because if they fall behind the Saints, it's going to be the same story. They're going to be playing catch-up. They might be able to rack up some yards on the ground once they're behind. Against the Saints defense, it's not very good. They're definitely not the class of the league. And so the Browns will have a chance if they can keep putting those points on the board. But I believe they're going to fall short once again here at home in Cleveland, as the Saints are going to pull this one out. And really, the Saints very likely could win this game by double digits. I wouldn't be surprised. The Browns, I mean, you've seen that when they choose to play, when they really, are motivated, they can hang in there with their opponents and they can make it interesting. But they've got to play 60 minutes. So it's not impossible for the Browns to win this game with how weak this New Orleans defense is, especially in their pass defense. And Hoyer's an underrated quarterback, so you could see him put up some good numbers in this game. Wouldn't be surprised. They could get some good, yardage on the ground. Now they have 3 backs. It seems that's how they were dishing it out in Week 1. Terrence West had 100 yards off of 16 carries. Ben Tate had 41 off of 6 carries. And Isaiah Crowell had 32 yards off of 5 carries. So they're more than capable of running the ball. And it's kind of a running back by committee situation in New Orleans as well. As they've got Mark Ingram, Pierre Thomas, and Kyrie Robinson. And between them, Ingram had 60 yards off of 13 carries. Thomas had 31 yards off of 7 carries. And Robinson had 28 yards off of 6 carries. So the advantage would go towards Cleveland, actually, if you're just looking at the numbers. Of course, those running backs in New Orleans don't get a lot of carries because, for the most part, they're running the ball. I mean, they ran the ball 28 times, or they passed the ball, that is. They ran the ball 28 times against the Falcons, whereas they passed the ball 42 times. So it's really going to come down to the passing. And the Browns didn't really do much to stop the passing game of Pittsburgh. And they're up against a better passing game in New Orleans. So the way Pittsburgh was racking up those points through the air, and on the ground too, Le'Veon Bell. I mean, you've seen the game he had. All 3 running backs of New Orleans are capable of putting up that kind of performance on any given Sunday. They could break out and have a big day. So I really expect the Saints to win this one, and more than likely, as I said, by double digits. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the show.